Welcome to Burnt Out. The Burnt Out podcast shares the stories of firefighters, emergency personnel, and other first responders around the world to create a pathway to save lives. The stories you will hear are real and may be disturbing to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. And now I'd like to introduce you to your host for Burnt Out, a 33-year retired veteran of the fire department, Skip O.
Thank you, Sean, for that introduction. We also would like to thank our sponsors, Turning Point Madison County, Code Green, and Bridges of Hope, the Warriors Program. You can go on burntoutpodcast.org and you can see more information about our sponsors. We're here today with a firefighter from Washington, D.C. His name's Scott Creelman. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Skip. Thanks for having me.
Well, I tell you what, you're a busy man. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here. Do you want to give the listeners a little brief description of your background?
Sure. My name is Scott Creelman. I've been with the D.C. Fire and EMS Department for just over 30 years. I am currently a sergeant assigned to special operations. I am a battalion aide, which I deal with all the special operations units in the city, mainly manpower and some administrative stuff, but I also drive the chief on the runs. So that's currently my job. I've been married for 32 years. My wife, Joy, two daughters that are 30 and 27. And a host full of dogs here at the house. I currently have three: Avery, who is my working dog, and Linus and Tucker, are both labs also.
Well, that's good, Scott. I tell you, I know when we talked the other day about being on the show, I could relate with you in several different areas, not just being a firefighter and a family man, but you're four-legged angels, and I really like them.
Absolutely.
I like the mission once you told me about it and stuff. You want to just kind of go into that and let people know what exactly you do with your dogs?
Sure. So to start, I'm part of the DC Fire EMS has a peer support team, which was started by our local union in 2018. We got off the ground. We started off with about 30 members that we had gotten trained through the IFF program. And we also opened a phone line, which was manned 24/7, 365, and that's all done by our people. It's all the fire department. So if you call into the peer support line, you're speaking to one of us directly. It's a Google line, so we're able to pass it on to each other daily. We are currently just under 60 members on our team, and we do a 1-month stint with the phone line and responses. So what we do with that is I'll cover the phone line. I'll usually have 3 days in the month that we're projected to have it. So once every 3 months, we have the phone line. I'll cover about 3 days, and all the other members on my team will also have coverage days. But also within that month, if there's any significant incidents where the peer support team has been called in either to work or to assist a person or a member from our department, it's usually we're the first team to be notified, and we'll build a response from that. The canine portion of this, we're currently operating with 2 dogs. One is mine, Avery. She's a chocolate female. She's 5 years old. We have Levi, who is a 7-year-old German Shepherd, 110 pounds of gentle giant. We have Luna, who is up and coming. She just finished her training. She had her first outing with me last week for an evaluation. She's a black lab, beautiful dog. She's 2. And we actually have a 4th that's he'll turn a year in January. He's doing his training. That dog was donated to us by a group called Yates Family Labs out of Virginia. They donated the dog in the training. And so once his name is Sonny, once he's finished his training, he'll be up and running too. So we have a fairly large canine group, and we're servicing a department of about 2,000 members.
Wow, that's amazing. Sounds like you're a busy person.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, a lot of people have a reason why they do this. I got a reason why I'm so passionate about our peer support and getting involved in emotional support dogs. Do you have a story or a reason why you're so passionate about doing what you're doing as far as peer support and working with the dogs?
Sure. So one of my things that I've found from over years of work and work-related incidents, I didn't realize that they were building inside of me. And one of the things that I've realized since talking to a therapist, I suffer from anxiety, and I never realized that I did. So that's one of the reasons why I'm such a big proponent of mental health and caring for our members and making sure that they get help is for that exact reason. I don't want to see anybody else go through either what I've been through or what other members have gone through. If we can recognize that up front and show that we can support it, I think it's going to make our careers and our jobs much better in this profession.
Sure. I tell you, I appreciate you saying you talked to a therapist and you had anxiety. A lot of us, a lot of different people that get in a certain position, they're afraid to share anything about seeing a therapist or about our I don't like calling them the weaknesses, our fears or whatever it is. I appreciate you sharing that and letting people know out there. It doesn't matter what position on the department, fire, police, military, wherever you're at as a first responder, we don't have to be that tough person. We don't have to. We don't have to let
Right.
fear, and understand fear. Sometimes people are afraid of sharing that. They don't want to get transferred or lose their badge or job or lose their gun for a while. But at the end of the day, if we don't share those fears with somebody like a peer support, because when you do your peer support, Scott, is that you don't write? Do you guys write stuff down, or is it strictly confidential?
So we everything is confidential. The only thing that we'll do is record numbers, either how many people we visited with. There's no names used. The only time that we have to use names is, and again, it's still at a confidential level. I am not a team lead. If I receive a phone call and somebody needs to go into a treatment facility or something along those lines, we do obviously have to use names to get the person in and get them relieved from duty or performing their duties. We'll have them placed on sick leave through the department, which we do have the capability of doing. Um, we can sometimes achieve administrative leave for certain days, but we're able to place a member in that position. And again, it's confidentiality. Yes, you may be placed on sick leave, but there's no note in the telestaff staffing that says that they're off for mental health or an addiction or anything like that. That's just says that they're listed as sick leave. That's it.
Well, I know Brandon Dryman, he's on the peer support team along with Tim Gallagher and Doug Abernathy. They go around and vet different therapists to make sure they do first responders or EMDR, and they got different treatment centers they travel around the United States or call that they use for their department that they know that they specifically will use for them. Do you do on your peer support, do you have that information for your guys? Or
Yes, sir.
not just guys, ladies too?
Oh yeah. For the members of our department. So we in Washington D.C. are extremely fortunate. The Center of Excellence is just outside our right outside Washington D.C. in Upper Marlboro, so it's very close by to us, within a 15 or 20-minute drive. We have another facility that's in Havre de Grace, Maryland. It's called Harbor of Grace. The gentleman that runs that is a retired fire medic, and it is all first responder based. And we've had some great successes come out of there. and just the to have what's available to us, our resource list. We have a extraordinary list of resources that we can use. Our department is also has a clinic where we have to report to for sick or injuries, um, which is our fire department clinic. We also have a psychologist and a therapist on duty there. We're able to get people in there without going to the front desk if it were a mental health issue. So you're not walking into the front desk where the rest of the department or other people are for you to say, yeah, I need to go upstairs and see the shrink. Um, if a member contacts the peer support group, we can kind of circumvent the front desk and have them go directly to the doctor upstairs, which I think helps with the confidentiality.
No, that sounds like a great idea to do that. With our guys and some others around the United States and England, how do you get the message across to your guys' membership? I mean, you could post something on the wall. Sometimes that gets covered up or gets thrown away. Is there stuff that you go around to the stations, or does somebody from your peer support go around, do a coffee table talk and let them know?
So yeah, we have a couple of different programs within our program. We do what's called Wellness Wednesday, and on Wellness Wednesday, every Wednesday of the month, we go to a different battalion and we'll visit the firehouses in that battalion. We have 7 battalions in the city, 4 different shifts. So it takes us a while to cover each of the stations and each of the battalions, but we do get it done. And we'll just go in. For instance, when I do the Wellness Wednesday, I take Avery with me. She gets to visit the firehouses, gets to visit all the personnel, and it's a door opener for an icebreaker. So it'll help get people talking. But the Wellness Wednesday is, hey, don't forget peer support's here. If you ever need us, um, you know, there's things that we can talk about. We can leave a pamphlet. And we, write our name and number on the board along with the peer support hotline number, and the suicide prevention number. So we do that. Every rookie class that comes into the training academy now gets a peer support introduction, which is about an hour-long presentation. And we also do for our supervisory classes, which is newly promoted officers. They go through a supervisor 1 and 2. And part of that supervisor 1 and 2 class is the peer support introduction program. So we especially with the newer officers, we just say, hey, don't forget peer support's available. If you happen to see something, hear something, if you're on a critical incident, should you ever need peer support, this is the who, when, why, where. Reach out, we'll come out. Sure. And if the company needs to be placed out of service, we can do that through the management.
Well, there's something that's good stuff. Because I'm gonna probably steal some of it. I'll let them know where I got it from. I promise.
Okay. All right.
We were talking earlier too. You had a speaker come. You also, something your department does sometimes. You have events, and you had somebody come and speak. You want to mention that a little bit and kind of?
Oh man, we had a gentleman, Travis Howes, that came out and did a 2-day seminar with us. It was over 2 days, so he did his seminar twice for our union. Our fire chief was there; he was present, and a lot of the upper echelon from our department was there. So be it the white shirts, he made a hell of an impact. Now, our department has been very proactive with the mental health, with the peer support team. Was started by the union, but is now part of the DC Fire Department's team. There used to be 2 separate teams, but now everything falls under peer support. So it's been welcomed. It was not hard to get it started, because I think people realize that This is a serious problem that was avoided for many years. I know you and I, as senior guys, that witnessed it. So the suck it up, get on with life mentality just doesn't work anymore.
No, it doesn't. I think Travis, when I heard him a couple of times speaks, he kind of alludes to that, and he uses his own experience trying to be that tough guy, and then kind of, goes through the horrors that he had to go through
Yeah.
and express it. I liked when you told me though about the job when he had something he wanted to take your dog for a walk.
Yeah. So yeah, he had asked one of our other canine handlers, Sharon. She's an EMS captain and she's the one that has Levi. He was like, hey, can I hang out with Levi for a couple minutes? So his second day, he kind of decompressed, and it's a good thing.
Well, I tell
Good
you,
thing.
guys like that, and I got a friend of mine, Jason Saltel, I was telling you about. He wrote the book, The Rescuer. Jason's been on the Worldwide Peer Support talking to our guys and really pumping people up, and Travis has too. He's gave a presentation on the Worldwide Peer Support link that we do with our organization. They're really good guys. It's amazing. Jason, just because he wrote a book, they're just like us. They just happened to write a book. They said,
Right.
Jason always says, "I'm the biggest nobody you're going to meet." The same kind of humility comes from both of them, but you get guys that have a platform like that, and I think
Yes.
Scott, you have a platform for what you do, being in Washington D.C. because your department's big, and these other departments are looking at you to be the leaders and stuff, and with your platform. Do you travel around outside? Do you help other departments outside your department as far as fire department?
So we were tasked with a response to Baltimore City back in January of this year. They had um 3 fatalities, line of duty deaths, and they did not have. They had a very small peer support group, and they were not able to handle their entire department uh, for the upcoming days. They reached out to the IFF. The IFF put together a district team, and we went on a response to Baltimore, which was um, uh, very heartwarming for me, because I saw the difference that we made while we were there. Um, so yeah, the program is pretty amazing. And after that response, the IFF tasked the gentleman that put it together, Mike Wells from Prince George's County. Um, they are now working on a fourth district, which is our region here: Virginia, portions of West Virginia, Maryland, D.C., Delaware. Excuse me, I think part of New Jersey. Um, but they're putting together a fourth district response team. So if there's anything that on a larger scale should happen again, it's not tasking just one particular department. They're going to ask for help from others.
Sure. And you got
Um,
a story about law enforcement. You kind of reached over the line there before I
yes,
had.
sir.
Could you tell us
Yeah,
that situation?
sure. So this is actually where we got the idea to bring on the canines for our union team. Um, this was the U.S. Capitol had an incident where 2 Capitol police officers were struck at one of the gates. One of them was killed. Um, they did not have a peer support team at the time. They knew that we did, and they reached out to DC Fire and said, "If you have a support team, we'd appreciate their response." We were able to form up. We had a total of 6 people respond. Um, within, we were there in under 90 minutes. Um, Capitol Police Force is approximately 2,000 people that work an 8-block radius. If that 8 blocks is nothing, it's only a couple square miles at most. So to have that many people working in such a small area is pretty incredible. They had 2 break rooms, one on the Senate side and one on the House side of the Capitol. So we split our teams. We had 3 people in each break room. And as most first responders know, police and firemen, they get along. Um, but it's not the same job. So they were very appreciative of us being there. We didn't get much response for talking, which we were kind of hoping to break the ice there. And we remained there. That was probably 3:30 in the afternoon. We stayed till about 8 o'clock that night. Just as the time as we were leaving, there was a police department, Arlington County, out of Virginia, which is another close by metropolitan area. They came in with a group of 7, and they had a dog with their team. And as soon as they broke the door and the dog came in, the ice was broken. The people got down. Can I pet your dog? Can I, as soon as they started touching, and the comfort of the dog itself is when the words started flowing, and that changed everything. I went back to our union our union reps the following day and said, we need to get a dog for our team, and that's where it all started.
That's
from.
great. I tell you, usually, there's changes in our department, or something sad has to happen, or something big has to happen. We need to do something, or another department, neighboring department, something happens, and then we got to do something about it. But I think what you did, taking that back and adding that tool with you, is amazing, because you're right. I turn into a little kid when I get around a dog. I remember when I went to the Center of Excellence right before COVID hit, they brought an organization brought some dogs in, and I sat down on the floor with them, and I just could forget everything. I didn't have to think about it. I could be a kid.
Right.
And that's the same with Pete Lewin Newfoundlands that I told you a little bit about it. He does emotional swim dogs. Same thing with them when they go on a swim, and they take people to swim with the dogs and stuff. They forget their problems. They leave them out the door. So,
on the shore.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I tell you, have you like for your peer support, what do you all do about self-care? Because we're hearing everybody's stuff, or we got our own stuff,
Right.
our families and our own problems, and then you get to carry some baggages for some other people. What do you do personally, and what does your peer support team do for self-care?
So our peer support team, we have mental health check-ins. We have therapists assigned to our team from Awaken is the group that we work with, and I do a check-in with them personally every 6 months. And if I ever need if I were to have a critical incident or a member that triggered something for me, I can reach out to them, and I can speak with one of the therapists. We do a lot of the online stuff because of COVID. Once that kicked up, people realize that we can do this, and it does really help. That you're not having to make an appointment and drive there. I'm not sure if people are familiar with Washington D.C. and the metro traffic, but it's terrible. If you don't have to go out in it, don't. So to be able to do these things, the Med Health online has been tremendous, a tremendous help. So yeah, our team has legit check-ins every 6 months with the counselor, and you or the therapist, and you're online with them for 45 minutes or so. And again, if you have any issues or anything that comes up, the lady that I speak with on a regular, she's who I speak to when I need to talk to somebody, not just for check-ins.
Well, I tell you, I think sometimes we forget that. We get on the job and we're doing our regular job, and then that takes a toll.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get on an extra stuff, peer support. You want to help people, whether fire, police, or military. And then I don't know about you and your team. I think I got to rescue everybody else, and then like Sean, I got to look in the mirror. Okay, what are you doing for yourself today, Skip? Are you talking down yourself? Are you worn out? Are you sleeping okay? Are you eating okay? Are you having fun in life? Are you leaving your family out? Are you pushing them aside and doing this others? I got to go through the checklist myself and make sure I'm doing, just like you're checking your truck or your vehicle, your equipment. I think you need to have a checklist.
Absolutely.
A checklist on your wall. Say, okay, what am I doing today for me?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I definitely know my limits, and I know when it's time to I know when to say when, or no, I can't do this particular one. Um, that there's 60 other people on our team that some of them have to go through, and I can't do it all. I know that. So
Sure.
yes, I'd love Avery to make every appearance that she possibly could, but I can't do them all. So I have realized that I do know my limits.
Well, that's good. Tim Gallagher with the Indianapolis Fire Department retired, and he does some other things there. We're using my dog Laser for the Indianapolis Fire and for what he does. So I told him, I can bring him, but I want you and two other people to be trained with him, so you don't have to depend on me all the time. So we can just pass them through and do that. And I think for me, it's good, and I don't want them to feel locked in either. But it's
Right.
it's just teamwork, communication, talking, and like I got to learn. And Sean gave me a hard time earlier to shut that phone off,
Yes.
and the Facebook, the social media, and focus on my mental health and just relaxing a little bit. Brandon Dryman with the Indianapolis Fire Department, very good in yoga. He's very good and he teaches he's peer support resiliencies for the IAFF. He travels around the United States, but he's very good at the yoga part, which I'm an old guy, but when I get down there, there's aches and pains and I'm hurting. But, do you, as far as your wife, and I don't want to go too deep into it, does your wife,
No, it's fine.
does she speak up when she sees you going a little bit too far for you? Does she kind of say, hey, should you take care of yourself? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. She knows when my schedule gets stretched, and I'm sure she's like, "Are you sure you're going to do this one?" I know what that means.
I said after 32 years, I'd been married 30 and you 32. It's like my wife kind of sent a little reminder to me too, and just lets me know I need to land and take my cape off because I'm not Superman.
Yep. Yep.
But there's we talked too. We'll finish up with this. You seen peer support with you in 2018. Have you seen a lot of other departments, fire, police, or any other organizations start shooting up with peer support teams on their organization?
So the IFF has played a huge role in their getting their program out to locals around the country, and we're starting to see teams really grow. I can tell you that Philadelphia Fire Department has a very large team themselves, and they have two firefighters that are actual clinical therapists on their team. So it's pretty helpful, especially the guys that that see it, that know it, the ins and outs. Not only working with it, but they know what it's about. So I think that helps. And other departments around the area are definitely bringing it in. Um, I, I'll touch real quick on that. We'll go back to the canines, and that was I looked into getting a canine right after the Capitol event, and a trained dog for therapy use. You're talking upwards of $25,000 for a trained dog. Um, I was able to do it on my own. Avery was one of my house dogs. I just thought that she had a great demeanor about her, always pretty loving. So I took her, got her evaluated, and I did the training myself. It took about 7 months, but I was able to do it for about $4,000. So there's a big difference, and it can be done.
Sure.
So,
Well, that's hopeful for other departments that don't have that kind in their line item, the budget in their line item, especially volunteer fire departments or police departments.
so that I'm currently working a couple of different angles, and with different organizations. Um, we're trying to get some dogs donated, trained. I want to do it through the IFF to where the IFF can assign a dog to a local or an area where it's needed. Um, and we have a couple of different avenues that we're checking into. So it's coming together. It's taken a while to build the program, but it's coming together.
Well, to me, it sounds like you guys got it, and we can always learn. Yeah, we can always learn and make it better. But I'm gonna put you on the spot for a second.
Sure.
You ready?
Yep.
Somebody's listening to this podcast and they're lost, and they don't know which direction to go. With the firefighter, we'll put a firefighter. They're sitting in their house by themselves, going through divorce. What are you going to tell them?
You're not alone. This is not, you're not singled out just because this is your problem. There have been so many people in our profession that have gone through this. I will help guide you. We have several different outlets. We have an array of people, resources that we can reach out to. But that's the first thing, is that you're not alone in this. And that goes for anything in mental health. I never realized the numbers until I started teaching this. But 1 in 4 people in the United States, 25%, 25% of the people in the United States have some type of declared mental illness. And that can be anything from anxiety to depression or it's unbelievable. So when you start talking about that to people, I think that's one of the huge numbers, is to say, look, you will get through this. We'll get you through this. I'll help you get through this. So just to recognize that.
Is there a quote or a statement through your life that you heard that keeps you going, that always rings in your mind if you're going through stuff? Or is there something out there that keeps you going, that crosses your mind?
That's a good one. I don't know. I don't know that I've thought about it like that, but man, I push on, and that's always been a big thing for me. I especially with being a senior man in my department, a senior person. I've seen a lot, and I know what people see, and I know what my triggers are. I hope others discover what their triggers are. I don't want to see anybody suffer through the mental health. So I offer my help to anyone who will take it. And that's, for a group of 2,000 people. Yeah, no, I'm not going to speak to 2,000, but, I hope that I've made a difference, and I want to continue to do that.
Well, Scott, man, I really appreciate you coming on here and speaking on burnout. And we really encourage anybody that has trouble pushing on. You can get on the worldwidepeersupport.org and go Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. We have support Zoom meetings, and it's first responders, addiction or mental health. We talk there and support each other and give them the ability to stay in this world one more day. If you want to get a hold of Scott, you can just email burnoutpodcast.org and message us, and we'll connect you to Scott if you're a peer support team that wants to start one, or if you want some information from Scott. I guess I should ask you if that was okay first, but
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You've got my email. So if people want to reach out, that's fine.
Well, Scott, thank you very much. And I'd like to thank our sponsors again, Turning Point Madison County, Code Green, and Bridges of Hope, the Warriors Program. You can go on our website, burnoutpodcast.org, and you can get more information about them. This brings us to the end of the show. I'd like to thank everybody for listening. And remember, tonight when you go home, shut your phone off and get some sleep. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Burnout. Burnout is brought to you by the Worldwide Peer Support. You can visit Burnout Podcast at burntoutpodcast.org or visit Worldwide Peer Support at worldwidepeersupport.org. Your host for Burnt Out is Skip O. Executive producer Sean P. Neal. And produced by mypodcastmedia.